Okay, so very good evening to everyone. So I'm Varun Jain. I'm the lead instructor at Miles, and today our session is going to be a short session where we will talk about the changes happening on the CMA exams from 2020. And let me just share my slide, guys. What I've also done for all of you is I've shared handouts on the webinar. So hopefully all of you who are on your systems would have access to those handouts. So the total of 5 handouts, and you could download all of them. And before we get started with details, let's sort of take a step back, look at a top level, quick high level understanding of what's happened on the CMA exams and also why. Why have the changes come into place? What's the logic behind it? So we're saying CMA exams is changing in 2020. So let's talk about part 1 and part 2 and how both the parts have changed. Right. So on part 1, what we have here is look at this. Technology is transforming the profession, and we want our CMAs to be prepared. So part 1 of the CMA exam now includes a new section on technology and analytics. This one's section F, and we will quickly cover this at the top level today on our session. Now look at the red box that you have on this slide. So on this red box, number 1, of course, you have technology and analytics. Number 2, you also have a few pages on integrated reporting. So we'll cover both of that. And you got to give me a second, please. Back. Okay, great. Yeah, so today on our session we'll cover both these portions. We'll spend a lot more time on technology and analytics, and also run you through integrated reporting. Now, integrated reporting, it's been added as part of section A. So section A was external financial reporting. Now on top of financial reporting, now we're talking about integrated reporting. Then we will also look at the changes in part 2. So in part 2, look at the red box on the slide here. You'll see new content added on business ethics and on sustainability and social responsibility. Again, all of this content is going to be part of section F, professional ethics. So that's going to be typically our agenda today, where we'll look at a new section, part 1, section F, which is technology and analytics, and upgrades as far as integrated reporting is concerned, and business ethics, sustainability and social responsibility on part 2. Thank you. Those are the way on. Okay, great. Now let's look at the revised weightage on the CMA exams from 2020. So part 1 has this new section on technology and analytics, which is 15% weightage. Because of this new section, the other sections have slightly adjusted weightages. So if you remember, planning, budgeting, and forecasting used to be 30%, now it's 20%. Anyways, that doesn't matter. You got to study all of this to pass. As you guys are aware, I think part 1, section A, external financial reporting, that's the only portion of the CMA exam where you do a little bit selective studying, but everything else is important for you to clear the CMA exams. Great. So now let's get started one by one. I think what we'll do is let's get started with the integrated reporting portion first, because that's part 1, section A, and then we do technology and analytics, and then ethics. Now in this webinar, I'll keep it short. I'll not really get into details of each portion, so I'll give you a high level overview. By the end of this month, we're also working on recording the videos for all these new portions, and that should also be available to all of you. And we also plan to run classroom sessions for all these new topics sometime in the month of November, and we will soon announce the dates for that. Great. So guys, once again, for those who have just come in, we have 5 handouts as part of this session. These are 5 PDFs. Request you to download all of those 5 on your computer systems. So I think let's start with the first one, which is integrated reporting. So this is a portion which has been added in part 1, section A. Let me get that up. Okay, here you go. So, what do we mean by integrated reporting? Again, as the name suggests, so this is very comprehensive reporting which talks about value creation. And here we will talk about six capitals that you have as a business. And I'll give you a mnemonic to remember all the six capitals. Six capitals going to be fish, man. So we'll use that mnemonic to understand all the various capitals that an organization has got. And in integrated reporting, we're talking about how the organization is creating value over time. Now, when you look at integrated reporting, look at the way it's written and look at the box on this slide. Now, when you look at the box, you would see a less than symbol and a greater than symbol. So you have a greater than symbol on the right, and a less than symbol. Less than symbol on the left and a greater than symbol on the right. Now, basically, integrated reporting is basically concise to the point, but it's much wider in scope than financial reporting. Now, the challenge here, or the fact here, is that integrated reporting is not mandatory. It's not required. Like a company has to come up with its annual financial statements. Let's say for US issuers, they need to file a Form 10K with the SEC every year, and the Form 10K includes annual audited financial statements. In integrated reporting, that's not a requirement. It's not a mandate. It's optional for companies to do that. Now, when you look at those financial statements, they are audited. Integrated reports, they are not audited. But when we look at integrated report, we actually go beyond finance. We just don't stop at finance. We actually go beyond finance and get a more holistic view of the business and how the business is creating value. So it's not just financial metrics. We look at financial metrics plus a lot of non-financial metrics as well in integrated reporting. So let's look at what we got here, right? Integrated reporting, we're talking about value creation and the six capitals. As I told you, the six capitals that we talk about, our mnemonic is going to be fishman, right? So let's look at those six capitals on the third page here. The first one, the F, again, starting integrated reporting, but let's start with dollars. Let's start with financial capital. So that's all equity or debt that the company's gotten. The next capital is intellectual capital. So here you're talking about patents, you're talking about all the knowledge-based intangibles, softwares, organizational capital like the systems, processes, so all of that. So F is financial capital, I is intellectual capital, the S of Fishman, that's social and relationship capital. So it's basically the firm's brand and reputation, the key stakeholder relationships that they have. So all of that, social capital, relationship capital. Fourth one, the H of fish, that's human capital. So that's all the employees, their competencies, their capabilities, their experiences, their motivations to create value for the organization. So FISH, M of man is manufactured capital. So here you're talking about all the physical objects. Think about the fixed assets, PP&E, property, plant and equipment. Think of inventory. So all of that, that's manufactured capital. And the N of man is natural capital. So it's basically all renewable, non-renewable environmental resources and processes that provide goods and services to support the organization. So it's basically, air, water, land, minerals, forests, biodiversity, ecosystem health. So all of that. So guys, as you can understand, integrated reporting, we're going very, very holistic, right? So when we're talking about the sources of the capital that an organization has gotten, we're using a mnemonic fishman to say the organization, the management, they have financial capital, they have intellectual capital, they have social and relationship capital, They have human capital, manufactured capital, and natural capital. They have all of it. The question is, how are they using all these 6 capitals to create value? And that's what we have on the previous page out here. So look at the chart that we have here. On the left of the chart, do you see financial, manufactured, intellectual, human, social and relationship, natural? So that's the fishman on the left. Look at the middle of this chart. On the middle, and I'll just put my video off so that you can see this full screen. Yep. So look at the middle of this chart. Let me zoom in further. One second. System's just acting up a little bit. Okay. Yep. I think, yeah, this is better. Yeah. Okay, so look at the middle of this chart, right? So then on the left, we have all these 6 capitals. The middle of the chart typically is the business model, where the 6 capitals are like inputs and then business activities, outputs, outcomes. So all of that, the company in between, the business model of the organization in between, you have the mission and vision, you have the risk and opportunity, you have strategy, resource allocation, performance, outlook. So all that's happening. And then on the right, you see the same 6 capitals once again. So on the left, you had financial, manufactured, intellectual, human, social, natural. The same thing you have on the right. Again, you have financial, manufactured, intellectual, human, social, natural. But if you notice, on the left, all those 6 capitals are shaded very light. On the right, the shading is darker, the shading is bolder. Because what has happened is all these 6 capitals are now improved, they are now enhanced. So guys, integrated reporting is talking about these 6 capitals, the business model, and how these 6 capitals get enhanced. Basically talking about value creation. So on the left, we got fishman. On the right, I'm saying fishman plus plus because it's enhanced, it's better now. So guys, for you to understand this better, let's quickly jump into, let's look at a real integrated report. And I have a sample from Ford Motors on me. I've not updated that as part of the handouts, but I will show it to you on the screen right now. Give me 1 second. Yep, here it is. Okay. So guys, on my screen, what you have right now is Ford Motors sustainability report for 2018-2019. Now on this report, you have the welcome, you have the letters from the CEO, sustainability strategy, key issues, and all of that. Yep, this is exactly what we are talking, right? So look at this, creating value at Ford, value creation at Ford. Thumbnails on the left. Yep, okay. Okay, great. So now if you look at this, creating value at Ford, on the left, look at it, our inputs. And on the inputs, you have financial, you have manufactured, intellectual, human, social, natural. So you've got all the inputs. In the middle, you've got the business activities of Ford. Design, raw materials, suppliers, logistics, manufacturing, sales, service, community investment, vehicles, end of vehicle life. So all of that, the business activities, the business model of Ford. And on the right, you've got the value created, the outputs and outcomes. Again, you have financial, manufactured, intellectual, human, social and relationship, natural. So look at this, right? So if you look at financial inputs, $11 billion was invested in electrification. $4 billion were invested, are being invested in self-driving vehicles through 2023. The output is that Ford has been able to generate $160 billion of revenue, and of that, $3.1 billion was distributed to Ford's shareholders in the year 2018. Right? So they're talking about financial inputs and the financial output or the financial outcome. Then you have the manufactured inputs, where Ford has 61 manufacturing and assembly plants. And then you have the manufactured output, where approximately 5.98, about 6 million vehicles were sold, and Ford has about 6.3% global market share. Now again, on the left, when you look at inputs, you got intellectual inputs, where they got about 60,000 patents, and on the right, you're looking at the intellectual output, where they're talking about coming up with a range of hybrid and fully electric cars by 2022. They're doing transportation, mobility, cloud development happening. So all of that as outcome on intellectual. And then you have the human inputs. You have close to 200,000 people working at Ford 198964. They have 1,200 tier 1 suppliers, 11,500 odd dealerships. So that's all the inputs in human capital. The output that they've created in human capital is they've got 81% employee engagement. Then you have social and relationship. They've given $1.5 billion in charitable causes, about 150,000 hours in volunteering. The output for social and relationship is that they have more than 1 million drivers trained through Ford Driving Skills for Life. And then you have natural, where the inputs are about 1,000 different materials being used in Ford's vehicles, and they're talking about the energy, water used. And then as part of output or outcome for natural, they're saying they're doing lean process innovations, manufacturing processes that use less water and energy, 88 true zero waste to landfill sites, 7.8% reduction in water use, operational efficiencies and best practice cascaded to their key suppliers. So all of that. So guys, as you can understand, this is way more than a financial report. So when we look at a financial report, of course, we look at the income statement, the balance sheet, the statement of stockholders' equity, cash flow. So we look at all the numbers, but this one, integrated report, is way more than just a financial report. Now, again, as I said, integrated reporting, this is not mandatory, this is optional, and a few companies like Ford who going in doing all the effort for integrated reporting. I'm not spending a lot more time on this because we're going to move on to the other sections. But quickly looking at this, right? So we've spoken about the 6 capitals, Fishman being our mnemonic, and then what you have here is what are the guidelines for integrated reporting? What are the benefits of integrated? So look at this benefits, right? It's based on the ability to create value. It enhances the accountability and stewardship of the 6 capitals employed by the company. The challenges, of course, as I said, there are no reporting standards. It's complex for organizations with diverse operations. It's additional cost. Look at the last, interesting, right? Use of qualitative and forward-looking information, which includes targets and forecasts, may create litigation risks for the company. So there's a lot of challenges. It's still an evolving arena, and because it's evolving and it's of course very holistic. That is why IMA has introduced this from 2020. Again, it's not a lot of content. If you look at the number of pages, it's only 5 pages of content, so you can go through this. But if you're interested, go online. You'll have a lot of content on integrated reporting. Now, I'd love to take in questions on this, but the way I do it is I'd actually complete all my content and then open up for questions, so that we're able to manage our time very well. So, 1 second. So we've sort of covered the integrated reporting bit. Now let me get on the technology and analytics side. So let me open my technology and technology and analytics is one of your handouts. Look at the CMA 2020 P1F analytics. So If you open that, it's great, but anyways, I'm going to show it to you on my screen, so it doesn't matter, whether you have it open or not. Let me get this back to you, right? So yeah, here you go. Okay, cool. Covering your entire screen. Okay, good. So now, when you look at the section F, technology and analytics, which is being added on the CMA exams, it's got 4 topics here. First one is information systems. Second one is data governance. Third one is technology-enabled finance transformation, and then of course we will close this with data analytics. Now, guys, you don't really have tools on this. You don't really have, a lot of things. But the agenda here that the IMA has to start developing the analytics mindset. As you guys are aware, even from my standpoint, we're launching our analytics program. If you go into our website, you will see that there's a lot coming on the analytics side. We worked with IIM Lucknow, and we now have a program in analytics for finance professionals at IIM Lucknow. And that program basically takes you hands-on on the tools for analytics. On the CMA exams, it's basically top level, it's basic concepts for technology and analytics that the IMA wants you to be aware of before you earn the CMA designation, right? So we'll give 4 pieces here, and let's go one by one. So first, let's start with information system. So let me scroll my PDF here. So you have technology and analytics, information systems. The first one that you have here is accounting information systems. Now, on the accounting information systems, basically the agenda for the accounting information systems is to create the financial statements, and it is from these information AIS that we also get performance reports like budgets, project profitability, and all of that. So all our accounting information is as part of this accounting information system. In the olden days, this used to be manual. In today's date, all this is automated. You have softwares for accounting information system. Now, the next topic that we talk about is the AIS business cycles, where we have all these cycles. Look at this: revenue to cash, expenditure cycle, production cycle, HR cycle, financing cycle, property, plant and equipment cycle, general ledger and reporting cycle. So let's do one by one, right? Revenue to cash. This is basically when you have an order from the customer and then you ship the goods out and you later collect cash from your customer. The entire accounts receivable cycle. We also call it O2C, or order to cash. That's your revenue cycle. Expenditure cycle, we also call it P2P. So expenditure cycle is basically like accounts payable, procure to pay. So let's look at a couple of these cycles very quickly. So you have revenue to cash cycle, where you start with receiving an order from your customers. So you get a PO from your customer, check is credit, check whether inventory is available. Then you prepare an internal sales order. The goods are shipped, shipping documents are prepared, invoice is sent to the customer makes the payment, you receive it, and you get the cash. So order to cash. So yes, this is typically a manual system. A lot of this is automated today, but I've got the manual process for you here so that you actually understand the step by step what's happening. Though a lot of these processes today are automated, and of course, as part of this section, we will also talk about RPA, or robotic process automation. So you can go through this on your own. Look at the next one: expenditure cycle, procure to pay. So this is basically you're procuring from your suppliers, and then you're the customer here who's making the payment, right? So you have a PO which you create and you send it to the supplier. Then the supplier or the vendor ships the goods to you. You receive the goods. The receiving department creates a receiving report. You also get an invoice from the vendor. Then the accounts payable team does something what we call a 3-way match. They match the PO that has been issued to the vendor, the receiving report, and the invoice from the vendor to make sure all 3 are the same. And if they're the same, the accounts payable team then creates a voucher package. Based on that voucher package, the treasurer does the cash disbursement. So guys, so procure, look at this, procure to pay. So that's accounts payable cycle that you've got. Next, you have the operations or production cycle. So here you have, product design, planning and scheduling the production operations, cost accounting. So you've got all of it. You can review this on your own, pretty much self-explanatory. So you have multiple activities. You start with designing the product. Once the product is ready, you're talking about planning and scheduling. After planning and scheduling, you're looking at production operations. Then you have the next one, which is cost management. And basically, the output from planning and scheduling is the input for production operations. The output from production operations is the input for cost management. Then you have the HR cycle, where a master payroll data is maintained and payroll is processed. So I'm just fleetingly going through this just to make sure all of you are comfortable. And as I said, in a few weeks you also have the videos for this, so it's going to be more detailed for you. But right now, for those who want to be proactive, get your preparation started, you're going to be aware of the content which is there on the CMA exams from 2020, right? And then you have the PP&E cycle, which is acquire assets, depreciate and maintain assets, and then dispose of assets. General ledger and reporting process, update the general ledger, adjusting entries, financial statements, and look at the last one, managerial reports as well as part of this process, budgets, financial performance reports. Okay, now traditionally, there used to be a separate financial and non-financial system. Think about it, right? Look at the content here. So let us say when we're talking about the sales invoice, that's part of the financial system, right? It's got the dollars. It's a financial system. But let us say the data about sale. When was it sold? What is the time of the day it was sold? Whether previous contracts. What? Think about Amazon doing this, guys. So number one, of course, when you buy on Amazon, there's a sales invoice which Amazon issues to you. That's part of the Amazon's financial system. But besides that, Amazon is tracking your buying behavior. Amazon is tracking all that you're searching. Amazon knows what all things you ever had in your cart. Amazon knows if you're buying product X, the next thing that you may buy is product Y. Now, all this other information around the sale is non-financial sales data. So traditionally, the financial data and the non-financial data, they were kept separate. But today, in modern systems, we typically do an integrated approach where both the financial and the non-financial information are linked within the same ERP, or the Enterprise Resource Planning System. Look at this. So ERP, you can talk about the SAPs, you can talk about the Oracle, you can talk about custom ERPs that companies do, and all these business cycles that we spoke about, revenue cycle, expenditure cycle, production cycle, HR, general ledger, all of that are part of the entire firm-wide ERP system, which has got the financial information, the dollars, as well as all the non-financial information. Everything that the company has in one place. Look at this, a very, very interesting diagram here. So you have all the various cycles, everything coming into the ERP database. That's sort of recording all the various systems, connecting them on. So connecting the various processes as well as connecting financial and non-financial information. And then you have the DBMS, again, crazy amount of data, and of course you need a database management system to be able to manage all of that. You've got data warehouse, repository for all the data, and then we sort of have EPM. So ERP is Enterprise Resource Planning, EPM is Enterprise Performance Management System. So EPM system, so ERP sort of is all the processes of the organization. EPM, the job here is to manage the performance of the enterprise. And of course, today, organizations do analytics-based enterprise performance management. They use data, they use analytics. The EPM helps the organization link its strategy to specific plans, to specific actions. So using the EPM, the company could do planning, budgeting, forecasting, performance reporting, profitability, cost analysis, and of course, a lot, very, very powerful. Look at this, ERP versus EPM. So ERP, that's helping the management with the day-to-day operations, all the sales happening, all the purchases happening, all the transactions happening, everything, payroll, all of that's going into the ERP. EPM is more about performance management. It's more about managing the business. Look at this, through analysis, comprehension, and reporting. Okay, that's basically a first section on information systems. Now let's get to our second section, which is data governance. Now look at data governance. Again, talking about crazy amount of data in any business today. So in data governance, we are looking at how do we take care of the data? How do we ensure that the data is available? How do we make sure that the data is usable? How do we make sure that there is data integrity? And very important, how do we ensure security of the data? Okay, let's talk about all of this, right? So we're talking about availability, we're talking about making the data accessible, we're talking about usability, making sure the data is usable. We're talking about integrity of data, which is basically the data being accurate and consistent. And we're talking about security of data. Basically, the question is, how is data going to be protected from unauthorized access? How you might have cyber crimes happening. How do you protect your data? What kind of data security techniques do you deploy? So that all this, guys, is basically data governance. So guys, just a quick recap, taking a back seat now, and maybe I'll quickly get on the first page here so that everybody's on the same page in terms of how we are progressing. Okay, we start with integrated reporting, so we've completed that. Now we are on technology and analytics. Here we've done information systems, accounting information system, ERP, EPM, so all of that. Now we are on the second part of technology and analytics, which is around data governance. So we've done an overview of data governance. Let's look at the data governance frameworks and the data lifecycle. So let me scroll back down. Yes, all of this PDF is accessible to all of you. It's there as part of your handouts. All right, okay. Look at this, data governance frameworks. So we look at a couple of frameworks here, which are commonly used in the accounting profession. Number one, we look at the internal control integrated framework by COSO. So I'm sure all of you are already aware of this COSO framework, where we have 5 components of internal control. So for those who are not aware, COSO was a committee which was created in the US way back in the year 1985. It comprises 5 institutions in the US. You got the IMAs for management accountants, you got the AICPA, you got the IIA, a couple of others. So all these 5 institutions, way back in the year 1992, they launched out their first internal control integrated framework. This framework, of course, was revised in 2013, but a lot of the essence remained the same. The diagram that you have on the screen here is basically what we call the COSO cube. The reason it's cube is because it's 3-dimensional. So look at control environment, risk assessment, control activities, information communication, monitoring activities. These are the 5 components of internal controls. And then you have operations, reporting, compliance. These are the objectives of internal controls. Because if you have good internal controls, you'll have effective and efficient business operations. You'll have fair and accurate financial accounting and reporting. You have compliance with laws and regulations. Those are the objectives of internal control. And then you have the entity structure. So entity structure, you see entity, division, operating unit, functions. It's sort of top level to the functional level of the entity. So COSO's cube is pretty comprehensive. So uses all the 3 dimensions to show you where all internal controls are relevant. Now here in data governance, we are talking about internal controls over data governance. So the agenda is objective here is internal control over data governance. We're talking about that being implemented across all levels of the organization in the control environment. And if you remember the components of internal control, our mnemonic was crime. The C of crime was control environment. R was risk assessment. I, information communication. M was monitoring, and E was existing control activities. What you're looking at here is basically internal controls over governance. Now, besides the COSO framework, we also have the COBIT framework. So COBIT stands for Control Objectives for Information and Related Technologies. And this is created by ISACA, which is Information Systems Audit and Control Association. Now, COBIT is basically a guide for IT management and governance. So basically, COBIT is focused on effective internal controls as it relates to IT. So again, we're talking about data, we're talking about IT, we're talking about internal controls, all of this very, very relevant in today's business environment, right? So you've COBIT 5, which is based on a few principles, and you can read this on your own. So guys, this is typically a data governance frameworks, couple of frameworks, COSO and COBIT. And what we have here is the data lifecycle. So guys, topic 2 of this section is all about data. Topic 1 was information systems. Topic 2, data. So you have the data lifecycle here. Capture the data, maintain the data, make it usable. Data synthesis, basically this is data modeling, data usage, data analytics, right? Basically using data to generate business insight, data publication, sending it outside the organization to the stakeholders, data archival, basically if you want to archive data for future use, data purging, which is basically deleting useless data. And of course, you need to maintain records as long as the users who need it or as per the legal and regulatory requirements. And of course, we spoke about this. There is a threat of cyber attack, so you're going to keep your data safe. How can you protect yourself from this attack? Maybe go for penetration testing. In penetration testing, basically you as a company would hire a consultant who would try to hack into your system. So it's your consultant whom you are paying to hack into your system. And the reason you're getting the consultant to do that is because that would expose any vulnerabilities that's there on your system, which you can fix. And then your vulnerability testing, biometric identification, make sure any Tom, Dick and Harry is not able to access your system, your data. And of course, you have firewalls. You could use the concept of defense in depth. So basically, it's basically multiple layers. So even if you have malware or an attack, and your first layer of defense is gone, you have a second layer to protect you. So that's defense in depth. And then you can read on this packet filtering and deep packet inspection and all of that. Slightly technical, but it's pretty much self-explanatory. And if you're not able to understand, go to Google, search about it. A lot of information, a lot of tech stuff out here. So guys, that was data, right? Now I'll go back to the table of contents. So on the table of contents, what we have here is we have topic 1, information systems. Topic 2, data governance. Topic 3 is technology-enabled finance transformation. So now we're talking about how does technology really impact, really change a world of finance. And guys, today, and I've said this multiple times, today there's a marriage of technology with everyone else. You want to be a successful finance guy, you need to know technology. You want to be a successful marketeer, you need to know technology. You want to be a successful HR person, you need technology. So if you as a finance person are shy from technology, you may not be able to get to where you want. So it's important that we understand that we are in a tech-enabled, a tech-driven age. We call it Industry 4.0, the fourth industrial revolution. And it's imperative for you as finance guys to embrace technology. You use technology to better your processes, to make your systems more effective and efficient, to much more than you could do otherwise. So here we will talk about the system development lifecycle. Basically, as the name signifies, systems development lifecycle. So that's basically development of a new IT system. How do you develop a new IT system? Then we talk about the role of business process analysis in improving system performance. We talk about robotic process automation. How do you automate, let's say your accounts payable process, your accounts receivable process? How do you use AI in accounting? And then we talk about cloud computing, and we'll close this with blockchain. So blockchain, typically, we associate blockchain with cryptocurrencies, right, or the bitcoins. But there are, of course, a lot more users of blockchain. And blockchain is a technology that's pretty much in demand in the fintech space. A lot of people try to look at other use cases, and it's pretty powerful. And let's talk about this one by one. So let me scroll down. Okay, so let's start one by one. Let's start with the first one, which is system development lifecycle. How do you develop, how do you design and implement a new system? So you identify the needs, concept design, physical design, implement, and then maintain it. Simple, easy. Role of business process analysis in improving system performance. Let's spend a couple of minutes on this. So when looking at business process analysis, you're studying your company's business processes to determine how you could improve those processes. So number one, identify the process, identify who's involved, what's currently being done, and have a clearly defined starting and ending point. So it's best to start with the processes that are most critical to the business. Now, once you've identified the process, next you're sort of talking to a lot of key employees, you're interviewing a lot of key employees, you're looking for gaps in the process, you're doing a walkthrough of the process, and the walkthrough has been documented clearly and completely. Then you want to look out for ways to add value to the process. If a step in the process is not adding value, remove it. So basically, you examine the current process to identify strong areas and areas that can be improved, such as bottlenecks, friction points, and weaknesses. And then based on your business process analysis, you got to propose a plan for improvement. Okay, that's business process analysis in improving system performance. Next page, we're talking about robotic process automation. Just for your reference, I've put a few good big RPA companies, UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere. So all these companies, they're building in bots which help you automate routine, repetitive tasks. So think about it, right? You may have a process. Let's say there's accounts payable where you have one of your suppliers who supplied goods to you. He sends in the invoice, and then you have an accountant who takes the invoice, goes into SAP, logs in, enters the invoice, does all the entries, and then somebody else, the treasurer, logs in to do the payment. How about we automate this process? We create a bot. The bot has the capability of receiving the invoices from the vendors, and the bot, let's say, would have your login ID and password of SAP. So the bot, basically that's a robot sitting inside the computer, right? So the bot will have access to your SAP. The bot will log into your SAP and enter or post the invoice. So basically, you're no longer required to do that manual, transactional, routine job. That will get automated. So similarly, you identify all the manual interventions in a process and you automate processes. So if you have a company where, let's say, 100 people are working on accounts payable, the question is, if you use RPA, better job could be done with, let's say, just 20 people. You don't need 100 people. So if you look at RPA, the advantages of RPA is quick completion. It's automated, right? So it's a monotonous task, but the bot will do it quickly. There will be proper audit trail. The bot will be 100% consistent, and it frees humans, frees you accountants from doing boring and repetitive tasks. And of course, people work 40 hours a week. The RPA bot works 24/7. So now, guys, this section is about finance transformation. So the next topic that we're talking about is AI. So let me show my screen again. So you're done with RPA. Now the next topic that we're talking about is AI. Now in AI, we're talking about tasks, accounting tasks, where we could use artificial intelligence. Look at this. AI involves computers performing tasks requiring critical analysis and pattern recognition. You could use AI for data analysis. You could use AI to reduce fraud. The good thing about AI systems, and and that's how they also superior to, let's say, RPAs, is that AI systems can learn from their mistakes. So AI systems are built in such a way that they have a learning aspect. That means the computer keeps learning, which means AI is adaptive. They just don't simply follow a set of rules; they keep learning. Now, applications and users in accounting. So you could use AI. Look at the last three bullets there. You could use AI to classify or categorize transactions into appropriate accounts. You could use AI to identify potential errors or irregularities in accounting data, which will help you improve your financial reporting. You can use AI to analyze cost data and create reports on cost behaviors and patterns. That's what AI is really good at, identifying the patterns. Then you have cloud computing. So basically, you use your data stored on a cloud, and information is accessible from multiple geographic location. Cloud computing, and these days a lot of companies do software as a service, SaaS. Instead of giving you a desktop application, they would give you a licensed software through online applications, and basically that's again an example of cloud computing. Next, you've got blockchain. Now, blockchain, you think of cryptocurrency when you look at blockchain. Look at the chart that you have here. A wants to send money to B. The transaction is reported online as a block. The block is broadcasted to every party in the network. Next, those in the network, approve that the transaction is valid. Very interesting, right? So you're having an online record, and those in the network approve that the transaction is valid. Then the block is added to the chain, which provides an indelible and transparent record of transactions. That's how money moves from A to B. So this is sort of a simplified version, but guys, this is exactly what blockchain does. There are a lot of blocks, and you put them together into chains. Data security is extremely high. Of course, a lot of advantages that blockchains has. Now, the use cases of blockchain, of course, we know cryptocurrency or bitcoins. That's a very common use. Besides that, increasingly we are also seeing blockchain being used in supply chain. Supply chain is basically you have goods moving across the world. You have shipments, international shipments. There's time lag in processing the international financial transactions, and that is where blockchain could come in as extremely handy. And then, of course, you guys are good with cryptocurrency. So guys, again, taking a step back and going back to my first page out here. On this first page, on the first page, on the table of contents, we have information systems. So we spoke about accounting information systems, ERP and EPM, data governance, all about data. Now we talk about technology, how technology is transforming finance, RPA, AI, blockchain, and all that. The last part of technology and analytics is data analytics. So let's get there and get this going. So I'm going to scroll down. Yeah. Okay. So here you have data analytics. Start with business intelligence. Business intelligence oftentimes is basically putting together what all has happened. Right? Business intelligence basically gives you information of and it's sort of got good, very smart dashboards and reports which tells you what has happened, why has it happened, and of course to do BI, you're looking at a lot of data that's been analyzed and showcased in that dashboard. Now, when you talk about big data, guys, big data, Now again, as the name suggests, it's big. That means a lot of data, right? So look at the first dimension of big data: volume, quantity. It's big, it's enormous. Now, even though the data is enormous, we want to quickly analyze it. So that's velocity, speed. But the data is going to be a lot of variety of data. You're going to have numbers, text, images, audios, videos, all of that variety of big data. And then you want good quality data. That's veracity. So that's the 4 dimensions that we often talk about for big data. Now, when you look at data structures, of course, number one, we're talking about structured data. Structured data, think of data in Excel files. Pretty structured, right? That's sort of placed in a relational database, which are database connected to each other. But when you look at unstructured data, let's say a text message, a photo, a video, a Facebook post, a Twitter feed, all of this is unstructured data. So when you look at structured data, it's organized. It's very easy to run data analytics on structured data. But the moment you look at unstructured data, it's unorganized. It's not so easy to get the computers working with that unstructured data. Now, business intelligence is about converting the data to action. So you're looking at data to information, to knowledge, to insight, to action. And in a little bit, we'll talk about data analytics. And then, of course, you can use AI for business intelligence. Okay, now that we've spoken about BI, let's do, so AI is artificial intelligence, BI is business intelligence. Yeah. Okay, data mining. So data mining is basically how do you use analytics tools on very large data sets. So basically the way you do that is you do a lot of querying of the data to try to find patterns, relationships, and insights in data. So data mining is you try to mine the data. You're using your tools on very large data sets. We often use SQL. So SQL is structured query language to mine those large data sets. So you use SQL to query the data, and using SQL you could manipulate the data, you could define the data, access the data. The few basic commands in SQL that you have here: select certain data fields from. It identifies the tables where the data is located, where it restricts the data, so that you basically query and get the data only which meets certain criteria. Because we talked about business intelligence, we talked about data mining. Now let's get to the most important portion here, which is analytics tools. Now, even before we get started with analytics tools, look at this amazing Gartner Analytic Ascendancy model that you have here. Now, when you look at this model, and I love this, right? It starts progressively from bottom left to the top right. Look at bottom left. You're talking about descriptive analytics. You're talking about using data, analyzing it, and talking about what happened. So what happened? You're talking about past. Diagnostic analytics. Here you're talking about why did it happen. Again, you're talking about past. You're talking about hindsight, behind you, right? So descriptive is what happened. Diagnostic is why did it happen. So we lost money. Okay, hey, why did we lose money? We lost this opportunity. Why did we lose it? And then from diagnostic, you progress upwards to predictive analytics, which talks about what will happen. So here you're talking about the future. And prescriptive analytics, here you talk about how can we make it happen. So guys, understand, you're moving from the past to the future. You're moving from hindsight to insight to foresight. You're moving from data and information, you're converting that, you're optimizing it, you're doing optimization. Look at the entire chart. This is very interesting. And just to add a little bit more on this, look at the y-axis there. The y-axis says value. Think about it, right? What is more valuable, predictive analytics or descriptive analytics? Again, what's more valuable, past or future? Of course, future is more valuable. So as you go up, the value increases. So it's more valuable if you as a finance person can do predictive and prescriptive analytics, which you're required to, and not just descriptive and diagnostic. Look at the x-axis. The x-axis talks about difficulty. What's more difficult? So guys, predictive and prescriptive analytics is talking about the future, and it's more difficult to predict the future than to analyze the past. So again, the future is more valuable, yet of course it's more difficult as well. The past, it's less valuable, but it's easy to analyze, what happened and why did it happen. So this is typically the data analytics model by Gartner. Look at the bullets on this page. Descriptive analytics is what happened. Diagnostic analytics is why did it happen. Predictive is what will happen, and prescriptive is how can we make it happen. Now, when you use analytics models, so when you talk about analytics, right? Very simple, and it sort of relates to all the accounting and finance folks. I start with talking about analytics using Excel. So if you use Excel, right? If you use Excel, and let's say you've done pivot tables in Excel. So you may have like a few thousand records, and a pivot table would help you analyze all that records and put it together in rows and columns as you want it. You could say that one is a very simple form of data analytics. Now, of course, with Excel, you're only using structured data. With Excel, you can only use, let's say, a few thousand records. If you have a few million records, Excel will crash. Now, of course, using the data, you could also come up with charts. We call it data visualization. So, guys, data analytics is your pivot table. Data visualization, think of it like a chart in Excel. Right? So your Excel also has data analytics capabilities. Now, if you want more advanced capabilities, then you look at tools like R. It's an open source. Tools like Python, very famous. Tools like SAS, now that's not open source, that's of course paid. So a lot more advanced tools to do advanced analytics, to do predictive, to do prescriptive analytics. Now, besides these tools, so Python needs coding, R needs scripting, some coding. Now, you could use, besides Excel, so Excel is good up to a certain point. Besides Excel, you could start learning Power BI. You could start learning Tableau. So these are data visualization tools, which also have a lot of analytics capabilities. So guys, so what he's saying is all these analytics tools can help you do data analytics, and you have a lot of data analysis techniques. Look at the first one, clustering. Clustering is you put similar data together. So, right, birds of the same feather flock together. So this feather will come here, the other feather will go there. Clustering as far as data analytics is concerned. Then you have classification. You predict which category or class and item belongs to you, and you classify accordingly. You do regression. So regression equation, y equals a plus bx. For those who still remember, we did total cost analysis, fixed and variable cost using regression, y equals a plus bx, where a was the fixed cost, total fixed cost, b was the variable cost per unit, x was number of units. So y equals total cost, where total cost equals fixed cost plus variable cost. B is variable cost per unit, x is the number of units. So we say x is the independent variable, whereas y is the dependent variable. So you have regression, correlation, and we will talk about this in detail when you do data analytics. We've already done regression in another portion. Then you have time series. You're looking at data points over time to be able to analyze them. And you have a few other data analytics techniques like exploratory data analysis, sensitivity analysis. We've done sensitivity analysis in CMA, where we're looking at various possibilities, various assumptions, and using that to develop our sensitivity analysis. And then you have simulations like the Monte Carlo simulation that is used for data analytics. And guys, Now that you've spoken about data analytics, let's call it a day with data visualization. So data visualization, so analytics, analyzing data, visualization, presenting the data. You want to talk about, you want to use the data and tell a story. You want to use your data to convey information in the most impactful fashion to your user. That's what we call data visualization. So here we talk about a lot of data tables, what are the best practices that you could use. I mean, for data visualization, plan it well. The focus of the table or graph should be the most prominent part of the design. Do good alignment. Sizing of the text should be big enough. Don't clutter it. Use colors as a powerful tool. So let's quickly go through a few data visualization tools. I will not spend time on these tools now. As I said, we have detailed videos of this, but let's just go through this. The first thing, I've classified these tools based on their intended use, right? So you got, comparisons. So you could use bar charts for comparisons. You could use pie charts for comparing. Distributions. You could use histograms, and you could look at this. They look pretty much like bar charts. You could use dot plots, or you could use box plot or box and whisker plot. Now, this box and whisker plot helps you, identify or display the outliers in your data. Locations. You got a map, and you've got this filled map doing data analytics for you. Relationships. So you could use a scatter plot for a relationship. Often we use this for correlation and regression, looking at whether there's correlation. So scatter plot. You could use a bubble chart for relationships. Look at this. UK is bigger than Italy or Spain. Norway and Finland are even smaller. So basically, these are bubble charts. Similar to pie charts, they are best used when the bubble sizes display a lot of variation. Here you have a heat map. It sort of displays a relationship among variables through changes in the intensity of colors. Look at the dark green. So that's hot, heat map. The lighter ones are less hot. So it's using colors to display the relationship amongst variables. And then you got this line chart, which is displaying trend. So all of this are basically various ways of doing data visualization. That's about a quick run through on the portion that we have on the CMA exams. Now all these handouts are also shared with you. You can start going through them, and as I said, in some time you will also have access to the videos for all of these portions. They are WIP or work in progress. So guys, so we start with looking at integrated reporting, and now we've looked at technology and analytics, where we've looked at information systems, data governance, finance transformation, data analytics. On your handouts, you also have a handout which is Q&A, question and answers on the technology and analytics piece. And guys, all of you should ideally have your Wiley online access updated. So all of you would have access to the 2020 questions on your Wiley online test plan. And that's important. If you do not have it, please email it. Email to your center manager or to Vidya, who handles the Wiley codes, and she would get things sorted for you. So guys, that's all about technology and analytics for today. Before I open up for questions, I have a little bit more for you on the ethics side. So let me take you back again, to show you, what we have on the exam changes. So you're seeing the CMA exam changes from 2020, and for part one, we've look at the red box there. We've looked at integrated reporting, and we've looked at technology and analytics. Now in part two, we will now look at business ethics, and we will look at sustainability and social responsibility. So this is basically part 2, section F, and let me get that open up. Guys, even that one is shared as one of the 5 handouts. Let me change my thing. Okay, here you go. So guys, this is again a 7-page handout. So you have 5 pages on integrated reporting, about 60 pages for technology and analytics, and another 7 pages on ethics, sustainability, and social responsibility. That's all the changes that's most relevant for the 2020 CMA exams. So look at this business ethics. Can ethics be learned? Of course. You could be a good person, but here we talk about how do you resolve an ethical conflict. How do you learn ethics as a finance and accounting guy? And guys, for the finance profession, ethics is our foundation. So very, very critical for you guys to be trained in ethics. It's an important competency that you need to have as a finance professional. So morality and virtue. Basically, when we talk about moral principles, the question is, what should I do? When you talk about virtue, your question is, what kind of person should I be? And guys, okay, this one's going to be a little heavy, but if you go through this, you sort of start making sense out of this. This talks about moral philosophy. Look at the first one, teleology, which is basically a Greek word telos, which stands for target or end or purpose. So when you talk about moral philosophy, which is teleology, what we say is, what is our purpose? What is the end? What is our target? Now, let us say, as an accountant, as a finance professional, as it's an auditor, our job is to gain and protect public trust. Our job is to serve shareholders' interest. Basically, based on these answers, you would be able to determine whether an action is a good choice or a bad choice. So basically, it's outcome driven, it's target driven, teleology, T for target. Next one is deontology. Now, deontology, think of it like deont stands for duty. So in deontology, you would ask yourself, is this action something which everybody would do? If everybody would do this, you would also do this. If nobody would do this, you would not do this. So basically, this is not target driven. This is basically driven by duty. If this is your duty, you will do it. Third one is virtue ethics. It's sort of somewhat related to deontology, where you first focus on character, then on action. So before doing any action, you would ask yourself, how would a virtuous person act in this situation? And you would act as that virtuous person would have done in that situation. The next one is utilitarianism. Sorry, difficult to pronounce. Utilitarianism. Now, this one again is related to teleology, which was again target or goal. Now, here you basically want to increase the overall happiness of the world in some way, and your choice would be the choice which would be good for the people. Again, it's target driven, but now you're looking at the good of people, and if it's good for the people, you would do it. I mean, you may end up being a Robin Hood because that's good for the people. I'm not saying be a Robin Hood, but what I'm saying is your focus is what's good for the people. And then you have relativism, where we're looking at moral, where we say moral values are relative. Because that is where you would sometimes see that a company operating in one nature or culture would take a decision, and another company in another culture or another country may not take that decision. Because what we're saying is even moral values are relative. The last one is justice, where you have basically the moral philosophy of justice, where you have a Platonic concept by Plato and you have an Aristotelian concept by Aristotle. Platonic concept of justice says each case should be looked at individually. Aristotelian concept said justice should be comparable and consistent. So you look at precedents for justice. So if somebody else did it, you would also do it. If nobody did it, you have to look at whether it's the right thing to do. So guys, these are all the moral philosophies. You could read this on your own. Teleology, target, deontology, duty, virtue ethics, utilitarianism, that's world happiness, right? Relativism and justice. And then you have how you may take ethical decisions, be fair, have integrity, do your due diligence. As agents of the organization, you have as a finance professional, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your managers, you have a fiduciary responsibility to the owners or the shareholders of your company. Okay. The last bit for today, sustainability and social responsibility. So look at this social responsibility, and very interesting. You have a Carroll's CSR pyramid. Look at the base of this pyramid. The base of the pyramid is economic responsibility. Because if you are an organization which does not have any money, what's the point? So it all starts with economic success. So that's your economic responsibility, which is the base of your CSR pyramid. Now, once you're making money, you're fulfilling your economic responsibility, you're creating value. Next is legal responsibility. Are you in compliance with laws and regulations? So let us say you're making money, you're a profitable company, and you are compliant with all laws and regulations. You're meeting all your legal responsibilities. Next is ethical responsibility, business ethics. So are you operating as an ethical company? Let us say you're a profitable, prosperous company. Economic responsibility, done. You're compliant with laws and regulations. Legal responsibility, check. You are ethical in the way you run. Ethical responsibility, check. Once all these are in place, now we talk about philanthropic responsibility. That of course is discretionary, but that is where you as an organization give back to the society. Look at this, guys. So economic responsibility, talking about economic success, legal responsibility, compliance, ethics, and then the question is, how does an organization give back? So this is, guys, the CSR pyramid that you need to be aware of for social responsibility. The last portion here is about business sustainability. So in sustainability, you're talking about financial perspective, social perspective, and environmental perspective. So financial perspective, as a business, you look at profits. Social perspective, you look at people. And environmental, that's Earth, Mother Earth, the planet. So look at the triple bottom line here. So you have people, you have planet, and you have profit. When all the three meet, that is where you create a sustainable business. So this is a threefold approach, provides a framework for organizations to manage themselves ethically, no matter where in the world they might operate. So guys, that is about all the content that we're going to be having for CMA 2020 changes. So let me quickly open the overview once again. So this one's the overview for part 1 and for part 2. So guys, all of you have access to the handouts. For those of you who want to be proactive, you can start your studies right away. For others who want to wait a couple of weeks for the videos to be out, you could wait a couple of weeks. Anyways, you don't have exams happening before the first week of January. So you still have more than a couple of months before you could hit your exam. So guys, now I would open up for questions. Anybody who's got a question, what I would want you guys to do is, anybody who's got a question, number one, raise your hand. Let's say if you have a question. No, I mean, if it hadn't been a classroom, you could have raised your hands physically, but now you'll have to use the button to raise your hand. Okay, whenever you raise your hand to ask a question, please also make sure that you unmute yourself, because as of now, all of you are muted at my end. Now, the moment you have a question, two things: raise your hand and unmute yourself, and I will, get a question to you. So if you have a question, raise your hand fast. We might be able to take about 8 to 10 questions before we wrap up by 7 p.m. IST. So let's see, and we have a lot of attendees. We have close to 250 attendees on this webinar. Great. So let's see here. Adarsh has a question. So hi Adarsh. Adarsh, you're muted at your end. Please unmute yourself. Okay, 1 second. Let me move on. Amina Anjum. Hi Amina. Amina, you guys, whenever you raise your hand, please unmute yourself. Yep, Amina, you're good. Amina, you want to speak up? Okay, I lost you. Okay. Feroz Ahmed. Hi Feroz. Feroz, you also muted at your end. Guys, whenever you raise your hand, please unmute yourself. Yeah, Feroz. I don't know why I'm losing everybody. Let's see who else has got a question. Prashant Kasi. Hi, Prashant.
Hi, Varun. How are you?
Oh, great. Good to hear you. I was like, am I the only one speaking? Great. Cheers. What's up?
Yeah. So I want to will the updated books of Wiley will be available at Miles right now?
So Prashant, what will happen is on the Wiley, you typically use your online test bank from Wiley. All of
Yes.
that at the end of the month will get auto updated. So you will anyways have the updated online test bank. As far as the books
Yes.
are concerned, I think Wiley would also be issuing their updates, but that would not really be necessary because we've covered all the concepts as part of the notes that I've shared with you. So what you would need is just make sure your Wiley online test bank that is updated. And as I said, if that is not updated, talk to Vidya, connect with Vidya and get that done. Now, what we understand from Wiley is in the first week of November, they will auto update all the accesses. That's what I understand, but they yet to confirm because the challenge is right now in the month of October, some people are also giving 2019 exams, so they're not really doing anything for everybody right now. But in
Okay.
first week of November, there'll be bulk updates. So I think that should be fine, Prashant. I mean, you don't need anything more than this.
Okay. Thank you, Varun.
Cheers, Prashant. Any other question that anybody else has? Let's see. Shubham Singhal. Hi, Shubham. Shubham, you're muted at your end. Please unmute yourself. Yep, good.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Sir, actually, I wanted to ask what would be the magnitude of the FX changes in 2020 January?
So look at this, right? When we look at this slide here, let me show my slide. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So the change is only 15% in part one.
Okay.
The remaining 85% is all the old syllabus.
Yes.
The
So
only change.
the other things are all the same. We just have an added section.
Other things are all the same. Everything is the same.
Okay. So
So
we
it's
just
only
have to read the technology analytics fact extra.
exactly. And there's a small integrated reporting, maybe 1% of your exam or 2% of your exam. So you could say it's a 17% change.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay.
And in part two, only ethics portion, so you could say about 3-4% change. That's
So
it.
I appeared for the part two a couple of months back, and I have cleared the part two. I am due to appear for part one. So like if part two I have cleared, there will be nothing to do in part
Nothing.
two for this time.
Part one is see even if had you cleared part one, even technology and analytics would not be relevant for you. But the point is once you've cleared, it's done. And the second thing is in part two, for everybody else who's not cleared part two yet, the change is very small, right? Only I think the ethics page was about 6 or 7 pages, right? How
Yes,
it
yes,
was,
sir.
yeah. So that's about it. So ethics was, to be exact, about 7 pages. So that's all the changes for part.
Okay, thank you
Make
very much.
sense?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Just okay. We have Rohan Chopra. Rohan, you have a question?
How are you?
Very nice, Rohan. What's up?
I just wanted to know for technology and analytics, which is about 15% of the content, what is the amount of testing that we could expect? how many questions could we actually expect from this section?
If we sort of keep it very simple, out of 100 MCQs, we should be getting about 15 MCQs from here. But it
And
always
even though
varies.
15 will have old stuff, right? So analytics will have only like 3-4 questions at most.
Yeah, I think so, Rohan. I think so. Yeah, because the entire technology and analytics portion has a lot of, it's got information systems, it's got data, it's got the finance transformation bit, and then the data analytics bit. And even as far as data analytics is concerned, let's understand this, right? On the CMA exams, it's basically, I could say it's the basics, it's concepts. For use of a better word, I'll say it's theory. What you're learning here is all theory. And that is where the agenda that the IMA has is to get you started. Over the next few years, IMA does want to increase the testing on the technology and analytics bit, but for now, this is very crisp. Just to help you understand, this is not exactly the CMA exams, but I'll use this opportunity to introduce to you, and this is actually going to be launched next Tuesday onwards, and I'm taking you to the Minds website. On the Minds website, under the analytics section, you have this IIM Lucknow Analytics for Finance and Accounting Professionals. Because this is a program that has been developed, by IIM Lucknow in partnership with Wiley and Minds. And what we're doing on this program is, this is analytics for finance and accounting, guys. On this program, we will actually get you hands-on. Now, if you look at this, this is only for finance folks, for all of us who are in this webinar. And the advantage here is this program runs over 6 months. Over 6 months, you will have 2 immersions at IIM Lucknow campus. So you'll have to travel to Lucknow twice. Then over the 6 months, you will have online classes. And a lot of the online classes will actually be conducted at Miles premises, where we'll invite you, or you could connect from home. There'll be master classes from industry experts. And the good thing is, at the end of the program, you would get the IIM Lucknow alumni status. By the end of this, you would be an IIM Lucknow MDP alumni. The cost of this program is 1.4 lakhs plus GST. So it's about 1.4 lakhs. Now, there's going to be an entrance exam for you to be able to get inside this. And for the entrance exam, we also rolled out a wireless certified business analyst certification. So this is for those who have, no hands-on experience in analytics. And on this WCPA, we train you on Excel, we train you on Tableau, Power BI, we train you a little bit introductory to R, so that you're able to crack the entrance for the IIM Lucknow Analytics for Finance. Now I will not spend a lot of time talking about this on this webinar. We're going to be doing a separate session for this altogether. But just to tell you, right, that today the entire world is becoming data driven. It's all around data is the new oil, data is the new gold, right? So in this scenario, having analytics abilities, having not just the skills, the analytical skills, also being able to use the tools for data analytics is very important for any business professional. With IIM Lucknow, we also have a program on business and data analytics. So that's for the senior folks. That's folks with over 4 years of experience in analytics. But we have now launched this analytics for finance program, which is going to be very relevant to all of us. Now, for those of you who are towards the end of clearing your CMA, I'd say complete your CMA, then jump into this. Or for those of you who are sure about the CMA and want to get started on this, it's a great pick. Because not only will you learn analytics, from a credibility standpoint, you will also get an IIM Lucknow MDP alumni status. So that's very valuable. So the reason I brought this up is trying to tell you how relevant analytics is today, and that's the reason why IMA has introduced technology and analytics on the CMA exams. Now, I would expect in the next few years for an increased weightage of testing on analytics. And as a matter of fact, we've also seen that on the CPA exams, where we have audit data analytics, on BEC, we have a lot of content on IT. And as far as the AICPA for the CPA exams is concerned, they've been talking about, from Q4 2020, they actually want to test candidates on being able to analyze data, and they would actually provide data sets and expect candidates to analyze the data on the exam. So that's not happening on the CMA exams right now or the near future, but I would expect testing to go there. So very, very relevant topic. This is great from a career standpoint. It's good to sort of know how analytics works and also be hands-on with the tools. Sorry, Rohan, I think I went all over the place with your question, but I hope I was able
No,
to
but
answer.
it's really good because you're absolutely right. This is very relevant. I'm really glad that this is, a part of the content now. So thank you.
Cool. Cheers, Rohan. Vishaka Prasad. Vishaka, hi. Vishaka Prasad. Okay, you're muted at your end. So guys, if you raise your hand, please unmute yourself. Okay, Piyush Gupta. Hi, Piyush. Piyush, you're good.
Uh, Sir, is there anything getting eliminated in any part one or part two, or is it just the add-on to the course and changes in the
Good.
weightage of marks?
Yes, Piyush. Thank you for flagging that, and I'm so sorry I missed that out. Thanks, Piyush. Thanks a lot. Okay, so getting to the screen, right? So what is being deleted? From part one, we're deleting internal auditing. So internal auditing was there in section E of part one, so that internal auditing portion will get deleted. So that's a few pages getting deleted.
Okay.
Besides that, part two also has some deletions, but the part two deletions were not substantial. They were only 1 or 2 pages, so it's not like a big deal. But
Hmm.
yes, 4, 5, 6 pages of your content.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Cheers, Piyush.
Hmm.
Okay, anybody else with question? Girish Khanduri. Hi, Girish.
Good evening, sir.
Hi.
Yeah. So my question is that I have come to know that the MOU between ICMA and the CMA is no longer existing. Could you please tell me about that? I mean, is it existing, right? Or it has been,
So
it's
Girish,
no longer.
that MOU has been scrapped. That MOU is no longer under existence, and there's little hope it will ever come back. Let me give you a background on that MOU, Girish. Of course, the IMA and the ICWA are, and they collaborated to mutually recognize each other's members. This collaboration happened many years back. Before Miles was active in CMA, before IMA was active in India, and all of that. Now, the challenge that was happening as part of this MOU is the ICWA. They used to be CWAs or Cost and Works Accountant earlier, and they rebranded themselves to CMA, Certified Management Accountant. Now, the CMA trademark is owned by the IMA. So there were some challenges around the trademark issue and all of that, and the MOU got scrapped. Now, having said that, let's talk about when the MOU was active. The advantage that you could do for the MOU was, you could go outside India and take exams. You came to the
लड्डू अंदर जाओ.
Vishaka is muted back again. Okay, great. Okay. So yeah. So the point is, even when the MOU was active, you had this option of going outside India, going to Dubai or Singapore or anywhere else, and taking the 2 CMA exams, and along with US CMA, also getting the ICWA. But even at that point, we never ever encouraged candidates to really go outside India and take the exam. So the point is, the moment you have the US version of the CMA, you really don't need the Indian one. Think about it, right? Even if you have 2 CMAs after your name, nobody's going to pay you double. So you're just happy with one CMA, and the US CMA is extremely recognized in corporates, in multinationals across India and across the world. So you're happy with just one qualification, you really don't need the other qualification. And as I said, even when the MOU was active, we never encouraged our candidates to go outside India and get the second qualification in any case.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, my sir.
Yes. Okay, so let me look at. I think we have another 15 minutes, so we'll take a few more questions. So Bharat, you have a question. Bharat, you got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, sir. This is yeah. I just wanted to ask, do we really need a class in Delhi? But we have covered so far in today's session.
Would you really need a class? The answer is maybe not. What I'm going to be doing is, the shoots are already on. So as I said, in a couple of weeks, the videos for this also will be out. What I covered today was like in an hour, I covered the entire content. The videos would be about 6, 7 hours. They would be way more detailed. So you could go through the videos and get this knocked off. It's okay not to attend classes. So you have access to the videos sometime in November first week.
Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot,
But
sir.
the agenda Bharat, today was to get you guys started. A lot of candidates were coming back to us asking us about this. So the agenda today was to get you started. Unless you're really, really, really proactive, you can hold on till the first week of November, get the videos, and the video access will be made available to all, and you could use that to get set for your CMA 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir.
Cheers, Bharat. Cheers. Let's see who else. Purti Chachal. Hi, Purti. Hi, Purti. Purti, go speak up. You're muted at your end. Okay. Mugesh Balan. Hi, Mugesh. Mugesh, you also muted at your end. Yep, you're good,
Hello, sir.
Mugesh. Hi.
Yeah, I wanted to ask what is the IMA membership? Is it extended for 2 years? Because earlier it was 1 year. Is it extended for 2 years?
Annual membership is 1 year, Mugesh. You can buy 2 years at a time, but there's no extension or anything. It's 1 year at a time.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Cheers, Mugesh. Anybody else with questions? Purnima. Hi, Purnima.
Hi, hi,
Hi.
Bobby.
Hi.
How are you?
Very nice, very nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I had a question. Actually, I was planning to write both the parts in Jan Feb
Sure, Purnima.
window. Yeah. So is
Sure.
that a good idea?
So Purnima, depends on how hectic's your workload, but I think it's very easily doable. And if you're giving both the exams in Jan Feb, a general suggestion would be give one exam in early Jan, give another exam in
Okay.
late Feb.
Okay. So I was actually planning to, write first part in Jan first week and then do the second part in Feb. I think you are also suggesting me the same.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
yeah, I have not registered actually. I think I had missed that registration window, and I spoke to my education.
No worries. We're going to get the registration window open again in the month of December, so don't worry.
December or November?
Yeah, it'll open up sometime in the second half of December.
Second half of December.
Yes, and you can register for January, no problem.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I think I have got all the answers. Thank you.
Cheers, Purnima. Okay, any other questions? Lokesh Sharma. Hi, Lokesh. Lokesh, you want to speak up? And then Rahul Nyamatabal. Hi, Rahul. Rahul, you're muted at your end.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Very nice, Rahul. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I have a doubt regarding the weightage actually. If you can look at for the part one, section B, planning, budgeting, and forecasting, it was previously for 30%, but now it has taken down to 20%, right?
Correct.
For the 2020 exam. And there has been lot of changes in other sections too. Maybe on the range of 5 to 10%, right?
Okay.
For every section. So my question is it only the syllabus or is it the weightage that has changed?
Now, all these sections have not changed, right? So, the changes today that we've discussed, we have done part one, section A, we had integrated reporting. Part one, section F, of course, an entire new section. And part two, the only change was in section F, which is the ethics portion. So that's all the changes. And besides that, you have some deletions which are there across sections. So, what's your question now? Come again.
My question is whether is it the weightage that has changed or is it the syllabus that has changed for these
So
five?
only the weightage, Rahul. Only the weightage. Same syllabus, weightage has reduced.
All right, all right. Thank you.
Here, the questions. Lokesh, you want to speak up? Karthikeyan, Chandrasekhar. Hi, Karthikeyan.
Hi, Varun. I have a couple of questions. One is the changes which you had discussed. I missed out some of these presentation in the starting. So, do we have another webinar, or is there
So
going to be?
you will have access to the recording of this webinar, so no worries there. And also just
Okay.
look at the 5 handouts that I shared, and then they will cover it all.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Done. Okay. Anybody else? Shabrinath Mulugu. Hi, Shabrinath.
Hi Varun, how are you Varun?
Very nice, Shabrinath. How are you?
Good Varun, thanks. Varun, my question is regarding actually there is an essay question pattern, right? Are there any chances of getting the new technology and analytics, the coverage of 15% in that essay questions also? Actually, there is a new change, so might be the cases, right? How to think in essay perspective also, if the questions were arised.
See, the point is, again, on a new Wiley online test bank, you will have access to all the updated content. As far as essays are concerned, I think you have a lot of content here, right? Look at most of the content that we had in technology and analytics. There was crazy amount of theory. So let us say if the essay question is like, what are the various types of analytics that you could do, and you would say I could do descriptive and diagnostic and predictive and prescriptive, and you write that down. If the question is talking about RPA, you could talk about bots and how manual transactions are automated. If they're asking you about challenges, you put the challenges there. So I think that's about it. There's nothing else. I mean, I think the content should be good enough for you to empower you, to enable you to be able to answer the essay questions also. So I don't think there's anything extra that you need to do. Just focus on this content and do the questions on your Wiley online test line.
And Varun, regarding the data analytics and business analytics, is that do we require any basic qualifications to take the courses for the business analytics? And
So the point, that's what I'm telling you, right? The content that you have on CMA is anyways very basic. It's the most basic content. So that's why I showed you the I am Lucknow thing, right? So I am Lucknow is advanced. This one's very basic.
Okay.
Why certified business analyst, I am Lucknow, that's really using the tools. On the CMA exams, you're not using tools, so it becomes very easy. It's like basic stuff, very basic.
Okay, so if we want to take the course on separately for this BI or data analytics, as we say see some certification which you have shown in the earlier slide, directly can we take that course?
So yeah, so Shabrinath, we have this Wiley certified business analyst. I'm showing it on the screen. So this is a bridge course, an entry course to the I am Lucknow program. So this is something which is being launched by Miles across 6 cities from 17th November. So our classes will start 17th November, and this will be announced. The I am Lucknow analytics program. The classes for the I am Lucknow program, the first batch starts on January 11th. A lot of things happening from Miles' side, and this is all for finance folks.
Okay, thanks Varun.
Yes, sure. Okay, so okay, Utkarsh, Sahu, hi Utkarsh.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, Utkarsh.
Sir, I am in college final year and wanted to ask that how can Miles assist in placement or job opportunities after my CMA exam clearance?
See, we have a crazy number of companies, Utkarsh, who are looking at opportunities. And which city are you from, Utkarsh?
I'm New Delhi, sir.
In Delhi, okay. For a change, as a rule earlier we used to only place once you clear your CMA exams, but let's say tomorrow in Bangalore we have HPUs coming in who's also getting people who have not yet cleared CMA exams as interns on board, especially the freshers. So crazy amount of opportunities that's there, Utkarsh. I think once you clear, we will get you onto the interviews and you could sort of knock it off. No big deal there.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Cheers, Utkarsh. Okay, Shubham, you want to speak up?
Yes, sir. One more question, sir. Like after the CMA completion, sir, if I want to do certified business analyst in IIM Lucknow, will it be enhancing my job scale and all?
Think about it, right? IIM is a huge name that you want to have in your resume,
Yes.
and analytics is what is the trend today. So it's basically, you get IIM on your resume and you get analytics on your resume. I think it just can't get better than that. So
Yeah,
get your
because
CMA.
sweet. Yeah, because IIM Lucknow was it's a very big deal, and to get it in a resume definitely would be a very good thing too. So if after hearing about this, I would be thinking whether after the CMA I should go for that. So what is your suggestion?
You should. So once we launch this, we already have a lot of our alumni who are going for this. So once you knock out your CMA, absolutely go for this, for sure.
So right now I am not working. Like I was previously working, but right now I am focusing on my study. So before joining work, I was hoping that whether I would be indulging in some other course and completing that before joining for a good work.
So Shubham, what you could do in that case is which city are you from, Shubham?
I'm from Kolkata.
Kolkata. Okay, so we're not having WCBA classes happening in Kolkata right now, but you could do the online thing. So we do WCBA online for other locations,
Okay.
alongside, and you could even target the Jan 11th batch of IIM Lucknow. So you could target that. So once we launch this out next week, get in touch and we'll have all the answers. But you could look at your CMA. If you're doing this full time, you can of course do this alongside CMA. Had you been working, you could have done both. But if you're not working, you can do both.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Just all the best. Okay, Sanya. Hi, Sanya. Sanya, you
Hi.
muted at your. Hi.
Yeah, so my question is, how likely is it for a college going student to crack the CMA exam?
And which year are you in?
I am in TY right now, third year.
Third year. We have a lot of, see, I'll tell you, CMA typically is the qualification for working professionals. So that's the general rule. About over 80% candidates across the world are working professionals. But what we've done in India is we have a lot of candidates who are in college and they clear the CMA exams even before graduation. And we actually, let's say in Bangalore, in Hyderabad, in Chennai, mostly in Bangalore, we actually have every university, every college in the city, every good university college in the city who are tied up with us and run integrated programs where students are taught CMA as part of curriculum and they actually knock off CMA exams even before they graduate in bulk, hundreds. That number is getting to thousands now. So it's crazy number and all of them are able to clear. It is hard work. Of course, sometimes people don't pass and they realize they get a 340 or a 350, they study again and they pass in the next attempt. So that all that keeps happening. But overall, we have a pass rate which is in excess of 60%. So which is pretty cool for college going students.
Okay, if by chance we don't clear the exam, do we still have a chance for getting the internships or anything like that?
So, Sunny, as I said, generally, as a policy, we've not been doing that. Reason being, we don't want companies to see us as a placement organization. So that's the reason why we're not doing. But now we're seeing a few companies coming to us. Let's say, we've done an exception with HP. They wanted to hire about, they are hiring about 70 interns, and they are okay with CMA pursue folks who join them as an intern and then convert that to a full-time job. So we are having a campus placement right tomorrow in Bangalore. So we already had a campus placement, a placement round a few months back. So it's not typically campus placement; it's basically out of our Sunday classes. But so this is our first, drive for those who have not cleared CMA and yet getting placed. But generally, most of our placements, or nearly all of our placements, have been for those folks who have cleared the CMA exams.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Anil. Okay. So I think, guys, I think few more hands there, but in the interest of time, and we already 6:58. We'll call it a day. Anybody with raised hands, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line at varun.jain at mileseducation.com. So so if you have any questions that I've not been able to address, varun.jain, varun.jain@mileseducation.com. Drop me a line. Of course, we have a big team of CMAs. There's Namita, there's Pallavi, Jayashree, Kirti. So all of them will be more than happy to assist you with anything that you have. And we look forward to your CMA. So guys, thank you everyone for taking out time and for staying till the end. Really appreciate your time. Wish you all the best. The materials anyways are up as handouts. We'll soon upload it on the website as well. In a few weeks, you'll also have the video access, which should be getting you fully set for all the updates that you have for CMA 2020. So thank you so much everyone for your time. Cheers. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much. Bye.